Right, so I haven't done one of these before on the channel, so I figured now is as good a time as any to do one. So, before I start with my opinions about SCR version 1.6, let's establish what has changed. Well, we'll start with the elephant in the room. The 2 new lines, that's 3 new stations, an extra depot and an extension to both Waterline and Connect services. Also, Leighton Stepford Road has received another terminating route, which runs from Lynn to Stepford. And furthermore, there has been an extensive scenery upgrade, upgrading the Stepford area the most. However, this will travel with and up the line to Benton and Whitefield, but only as far as Stepford USA, and Berrily being upgraded also. Continuingly, all stations across the Connect and Waterline network have received a facelift, embracing the new Stepford Connect and Waterline livery, which has been rolled out across all trains now. One very noticeable change was the 10 new routes, 8 for Connect plus 1 Class 68 exclusive route and 1 new Waterline route. The Class 720 has also received an upgrade, becoming Next Gen version 2, becoming this from this. Even though the 730 we already had, we now have a Connect variant as well, forming a 5-car service as opposed to the 3 allocated to Waterline. The 350 has had its Pride livery removed, and been installed on the 331, which lost its 5 million livery, and furthermore the 1 million livery has also been removed. Pretty much all Waterline trains were repainted in the last update, however the Class 319 and 508 was missed. They were finally repainted in this update. We also have the new Washburn Shuttle, which is a restricted 2-car service and runs from Benton to Morganstown, which is a branch from Morganstown Docks. We also have the very controversial signals. They were upgraded in 1.6 to look like this, from this. There has also been a large amount of behind the scenes work. For example, base plates are more reliable and can be walked on without despawning you, whilst tracks are more efficient at despawning trespassers. There has also been a rewrite of the signalling system, to be more optimised, whilst so-called improving reliability. I will touch on this further later. Another rewrite has enabled the prevention of 2 spadded trains to get stuck and need respawning. Another notable change is the new lighting system, which actually makes the map seem a lot larger than it is, whilst making the atmosphere seem sharper and makes you believe the game is a lot higher quality than it actually is. One announcement you may have heard is the addition of short platform announcements. This is more prominent on 5-car trains, for example at stations like Hemden Park, where it enunciates that the doors and the rear coach will not open and to move forward down the train. And for our Discord users, you may have noticed a new system called Row Presence. It can give details on your Discord profile whereabouts you are on the map at any given time. This is a very nice feature, especially for streamers. There has been several other minor features also, but if we went through every single one, then we'll be here till next week. There are some notable issues with the update. For example, as stated above, the so-called improved reliability of the signalling system is a bit wobbly. In some areas it works very well. However, in other areas, it completely fails, which is extremely annoying, especially when everything locks up and the only way to fix it is to respawn everyone in the absolute surrounding area. Also, the Waterline map hasn't been updated to include the new line to Morganstown. The biggest issue I have found is that when driving the Class 68 route from Willowfield to Lymm, on approach to Angel Pass, your train receives an error and you get despawned. There has also been some controversy about the reduction of platforms at Coxley from 5 platforms to 3, 2 towards Benton and 1 towards Stepford. I personally think that this is perfectly fine. However, I included it in the issues as it can cause a backlog of traffic. One issue I have encountered is the layout of the junction at Beachley. When traversing the triangle intersection, the signals are scripted, so when a train enters the triangle, everything goes to red. However, it is scripted, so even when trains do not affect your route / pathing, the signals will still go to red. This isn't a major issue, but it does create a backlog. Now, onto my opinion. Well, overall, I think the update is very good. I wish all the trains had not been repainted to get some variation in the liveries, or to make a system where either you select what livery, or it gives you a random livery to simulate the transfer of trains to a new company, similar to what Avanti did with their takeover of the Pendolino/Voyagers from Virgin. Not only would this add interest, but it'd break up seeing the same livery over and over again. I do like how the stations have been branded for companies, and stations like Stepford Central have just been branded under the Transport for Stepford name to simulate its use by several companies. I do like how more of the map has been electrified. I think the quality of the overhead wires could be improved, but they are nice anywho. I am a fan of the new scenery across the western region of the network. I really like the overhauled Charing Cross, Stepford Victoria. That is a very different but also extremely good station. I have noticed the bridge going into Stepford Victoria flickers a lot, but that's only a minor issue. Willowfield is also very nice, as it is a different station and stands out. Most stations across this network are very modern, however, similar to Starrylock on the eastern side of the network, it is very oldie-worldy, which I like, and it reflects that most stations across the British network are old Victorian stations, not new and modern. However, this does reflect and back up my reasoning why I believe that SCR is set in the south of England, with both its choice of trains and more modern stations. I also dislike the layout of Beachley sidings. If you imagine you are looking at Beachley from Stepford Victoria, the two sidings on the right are not too bad. However, it's this siding on the left that's the issue. I do like it when it's quiet, it's an interesting layout, and I'm sure it can work very well. But the problem that I have with it is when a train pulls out, it comes across the point and then stops at the next signal. It blocks not only the line towards Stepford Victoria and Central, but the line up to Willowfield as well. I'm also very happy that Coxley has been upgraded. Before it was shabby and minging, now it looks actually quite sexy. People have had an issue with the fact that 2 platforms have been dropped. However, I think it works better. Yes, at the minute it is very busy, but you have to remember is that SCR isn't always as busy as this. Once the hype of the new update has been dropped, it won't be this busy. Pretty much every time I've come into Coxley, it's been empty, so I don't see the need for a 4th and especially not a 5th platform. This isn't a niggle with the update, but I thought I'd mention it anyway. I know SCR is on Roblox, which limits the game's potential and performance, but I do believe that stations across the network could be spread out more. I mean, yes, in real life there are stations that are extremely close together, but pretty much every single station on SCR is, and it just doesn't feel realistic. I mention this as the new update does it very well. Stations are relatively spread out, with approximately 1.5 miles between each station. Now, although this may not seem a great deal, for SCR this is quite the gap. Again, not in this update, but seeing as I haven't done one of these before on the channel, I thought I'd mention the upgrade of Stepford Central, and admit how nice it looks. It's quite incredible, just how curving a station adds so much character and life to it, and the concourse looks fantastic too. I can't fail to mention the upgrade of Stepford High Street as well, which has had both scenery upgrade and it looks different. However, I can't quite put my finger on what's changed. One thing I was really hoping for in this update was the upgrade to the track. I still feel the track looks absolutely despicable, it's so unrealistic. One thing I can't fail to mention is the Class 68. It no longer floats. On the 25th of May, Matty posted a picture in SCR Sneak Peeks of the 68 sat at Coxley. And I won't beat around the bush, it was dreadful. The train was nicknamed the Maglev, and when the majority of the SCR community complained, there is a serious issue. But the developers acknowledged us and sorted the 68, and now it looks fantastic. All it needs is to be converted to Next Gen 2 and stop the cab from flickering, and it's sorted. Not to mention to make it into a TPE Nova 3 with a DVT on the back, what you can drive from. And as for the Mark III coaches being pulled by 268s, it is a little unnecessary, you have to admit. This brings me onto the future of SCR. Yes, I will continue to do weekly content on SCR on the channel, and I do know this week has been a little different due to the update, and as far as the game, we can only wait and see. The game is continuing to develop better and better day by day, and when Next Gen 2 trains are rolled out fully across the network, this will make the game significantly better. Hopefully, this won't hinder performance though. I know people have had performance with issues with the update. However, I've been okay, and yes, I do realise that I have a pretty beefy PC and decent internet connection, but even when streaming, the update still performs really well. I imagine a break in the SCR world for a while now. As you may have seen over the past couple of weeks, it's been sneak peek after sneak peek, which means to me that the SCR devs have been working extremely hard to get this update out, and I'm sure that they deserve a break. But with this next update, whether it's 1.7 or 2.0, it'll be better, and who knows what to come. I have been Reece Sterling, and that's my explanation on and opinion on SCR version 1.6.